Alright guys, welcome back into another NFL Preseason DFS video. We got the Week 2 coverage here for you for the Thursday slate. It's a little 5-game slate. And as always, I just want to do a quick recap of last week. So last week we posted the lineups on the Patreon page for that NFL DFS membership. And 3 out of the 4 slates we cashed. And then we actually had a top 4 finish on the second slate on Friday there. So that was a really nice week we had. Once again, 3 straight weeks for me personally were just pure dominance in week 1. Now week 2 has kind of been a week where it's pretty much been 50-50, kind of a break-even week. Third week is kind of the same thing. Then fourth week we really dominate. But really, I think this 5-game slate here on Thursday night is going to be a pretty decent one. We are still waiting on some injury news to come out, as you guys will see in the video. Let's get into it and let's go over the player pool. Alright, so we're going to start off here. We're going to do it game by game once again because I think game stacks are the best way to do it. You stack a quarterback with a receiver and a tight end, or a quarterback with a running back and a tight end, pass catching running back. So the first one I want to start out with is actually going to be Cody Kessler here. So Cody Kessler, he should get a decent amount of playing time given the injury to one of our favorite preseason quarterbacks, Nate Sudfeld. So I think we got to play a little bit of Cody Kessler. He should play about a half or so. And we know Kessler is a decent quarterback. If he gets about a half a play, he should get around 10 DK points. All right, so trying to figure out the Philadelphia Eagles running back situation. So the 2 that would most likely get carries in week 2 are actually injured. So, maybe Miles Sanders gets a little bit more work. He didn't really look good last week, but he didn't have that many opportunities too. So I think maybe they'll use this week to give him a really nice look. But the one I like the most is the roster bubble boy, Wendell Smallwood. And we know when Wendell Smallwood gets the chances to, he does play well. And, he had a lot of targets actually last week. So, if he gets those targets, he gets those receptions, I think he'll have a nice base. Wendell Smallwood is just one of those athletic running backs that I do like. I think you could stack Kessler and Smallwood together and kind of get away with it. I know you're not typically supposed to do that, but, given the targets he had, I don't mind that play. And then lastly, let's touch on the receiver position here. Let's go with Matt Collins. And is that his real hair? Because I don't know what's going on there, but I want to point that out there. It looks like it's photoshopped on there. But anyways, Matt Collins is, big play receiver type of guy. They do like him there. If he puts together some good weeks in preseason, he could eventually become the starter there and maybe even a decent fantasy football factor. So we kind of got to see it first. I do really want to play Dallas Goedert, but it looks like he's a little bit banged up. So if he's going to be banged up, we got to find another tight end to play in the Eagles system there. We know they like to use 2 tight ends a lot, so maybe Perkins gets some work. But like I said, we got to wait on that news for Dallas Goedert. Maybe Zach Ertz gets a series or 2. I don't think I would go with that route, though. All right, let's get into the next team here. So I don't really like any of the quarterbacks for the Jaguars. We don't really know kind of what the play breakdown is going to be time-wise so far for them. Running back, there are a ton of injuries here, and we're not really sure which ones are going to be out. With preseason, I typically assume why take the risk, so I assume they're all going to be out. So you can maybe go with running back Devontae Mays. They just signed him last week. He played for the Packers last preseason. He looked all right, nothing special. He won't make the team most likely unless they are injured. I could see Alfred Blue getting a lot more work though. His career has just been a backup running back, and he's decent. If he's going to be playing against second stringers, third stringers, he should be able to have a pretty good night. So maybe he gets around 7 touches, or maybe Mays gets around 10 touches. Not going to be a bad, production day for them, but we got to wait on the injury news. All right, get into the Bengals. Ryan Finley looked pretty good, which kind of resulted in Jeff Driscoll getting some reps at receiver and special teams this week. So he's out of the picture now, Jeff Driscoll. So maybe Finley gets some work. But the quarterback I like the most is going to be Andy Dalton. He looked pretty sharp in his series or 2 that he got last week. I think he'll get around a quarter. And so if he's looking that sharp again, I think he could easily score a touchdown. And I really don't mind that, especially going against that Washington defense. And now for the Bengals, we kind of got to figure out the running back situation there because, they're pretty banged up. They're not going to play Mixon or Giovanni Bernard that much. It's kind of figuring out which other running back is going to get some carries. And then I think if I'm going to be playing Andy Dalton, I might as well go with Tyler Boyd. Now maybe someone like Alex Erickson gets involved a little bit as well. But, I'm only going to play Dalton and Boyd as a stack and maybe one lineup, maybe 2 lineups. It's not going to be a high percent owned GPP play because there's not that much upside associated with it. You're really just trying to get those base points while they can. Not really sure there's a tight end we can target in that game or on that team. So let's switch it over to the other side of the ball here. We're going to be looking at the Washington Redskins. Now, I do like this quarterback situation. It looks like Case Keenum is going to be the week 1 starter. We got to see how many quarters he's going to play this next week. I think it'll be about 1 quarter, and then we'll see the rest of it with Dwayne Haskins. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they signed a quarterback, but it'd be hard to imagine that quarterback playing at all in this game. So I think 3 quarters of Dwayne Haskins is something that we like. He really struggled in his first game. Yeah, it was pretty bad. 2 interceptions, just did not look good. But, he's had a week to review that film, slightly easier defense. I don't mind him as a play. I did say Craig Reynolds would kind of get used in that Capri Bibbs role, kind of like last year how Bibbs was used. He kind of did, but, they really couldn't get their offense going last week, so kind of maybe want to stay away from that running back situation. Derry here, he's still getting a lot of hype out of camp. It does seem like he's going to be the X receiver in that offense, but I kind of want to see it first. And I think we're going to be able to see a little bit of that this week in preseason week 2. Darvin here, he had a lot of targets last week, and I like that they don't have that in the outlook there because most people might not be on him as much. It looked like Dwayne Haskins was trying to connect with him quite a bit here, and I actually did really like the routes that he was running. The reason why he got a lot of receptions and targets was because he was getting open with the routes that he's running, so I really don't mind that as a play. Going to be a decent, maybe a sneaky stack option for us this week. Now, Matt LaFleur came out and said that the Packers starters are going to start about a quarter if they need to. So that tells me, hey, they're going to either score a touchdown and be done, or they're going to keep playing. So if we get a quarter of Aaron Rodgers, I really like that. Definitely low on GPP play, kind of like Andy Dalton. It does seem like Dexter Williams is going to get a lot of run again. They're still a little bit banged up, but we still got to weigh on that news. The player that I like the most, I think, for the Packers is going to be Jake Kumro. We saw him flash a little bit last game. He didn't get that much playing time, but when he did, in the plays they did have, he scored 4 DK points. Give him double the playing time or so, I think we can double the production at least. Robert here, Tanyan, I don't mind him as a play. Okay, he's probably one of the better, maybe even the best tight end option on the slate. Now they are going against the Baltimore Ravens, which does worry me. So if you want to stick away from them, I wouldn't blame you. Does make it a little bit harder with the Packers here. So we know that the Baltimore Ravens run the ball the most in the preseason. I've already established that last week's video. And, in preseason week 1, it was more the same. They ran it the second most out of any team, and the leading rusher was Justice Hill. We saw last year in the preseason, Gus Edwards just dominated in carries. I think that player for us this year is going to be Justice Hill. He looked pretty good on film, so I wouldn't be surprised if he goes out and does well. Miles Boykin led in targets last week. Now, that didn't really equate to that much fantasy production DK-wise, but still don't mind the play. Should be a decent play for us. Going to the other side of the ball here, Elijah McGuire. So he's kind of fighting for that 3rd string, 4th string running back spot. He got used in the passing game a ton. I think I'd have to go back and check it, but I think he had the most pass targets for a running back. So I really like that for Elijah McGuire. It does seem like more of a GPP play. We just really don't know what the playing time is going to be like for all these players in preseason week 2. So it's kind of more lucky, I guess, than skill. But still, I do like this week for preseason DFS week 2, especially this 5-game slate. It's a little bit sneaky. On the Atlanta side of the ball here, I think Matt Schaub going to be a decent play again. You should see quite a bit of playing time, but it's hard to predict these teams that have played in the Hall of Fame game. We don't know kind of what they're thinking because they have the extra game. It's kind of hard to script that out. I do like Wilson there. He kind of looked better than he did in the Hall of Fame game. Had a little bit more room to run, was able to score a touchdown. Brian Hill continues to look good, so I don't mind those 2 plays at the running back spot, but I'm not overly going to be going out of my way to get them. Maybe that's more of a game stack play. I do still like Christian Blake here. He didn't get that much work last week, but still, not a horrible play. If I had to choose a receiver out of that group, it would be him. All right, moving on to the last game on the slate. It's probably the best slate. I want to touch on this. So Mike Glennon had over 25 passing attempts. I think that's going to switch to the more impressive quarterback. That's going to be Nate Peterman. We know Nate Peterman, he sucks in the regular season, but the dude balls out in preseason. He really just can't elevate his game to that next level. I was talking about this with someone. He is pretty much like that AAA prospect that just dominates in AAA, that just can't get it done in the big leagues. That's pretty much Nate Pete. So if he's going to be I think he's going to throw the ball a lot more this week. And we saw what he did last week with minimal attempts. He looked pretty decent. I think he's going to have a good week for us again. James Butler, I do like him as a play. I kind of touched on this on the Patreon page there. Last week I said Nate Pete was my favorite quarterback on that slate. Last week as well, I think it was the Saturday slate. But James Butler, he got a lot of work. And we know the Oakland Raiders, they like to give one running back a lot of work. It was Chris Warren last year. I think that player is going to be James Butler this year. He probably won't make the team. He's not that good. He's kind of just more of a bruiser. And then just the other assets there in Oakland, you can play them. Maybe low on GPP plays, just trying to stack it with Nathan Peterman. I think on the Arizona side of the ball, I do like Ricky Seals-Jones. He was demoted to tight end number 3 on the depth chart now, the official depth chart, not the unofficial depth chart. Who knows what that's worth because he started last week. He had a few receptions, but heck, if he's going to be going against 4-stringers, I don't mind that. Now, Hakeem Butler actually played the most snaps last week, but they were with the worst quarterbacks, and those quarterbacks didn't do well. They didn't throw the ball a lot. They really ran it a lot then. So I think that's why Hills there had a good week because those quarterbacks really just weren't throwing the ball well. But I could see Butler getting some good reps with the other quarterbacks, Hundley or Kyler Murray, and actually having a pretty decent week, maybe a sneaky week. I do like kind of all those, the top 4 Arizona receivers. That's really all I have. The defenses are pretty straightforward. Baltimore, Jacksonville, Eagles, maybe even the Raiders, they did pretty well as well.